Hello, Howard.
Hey Jake,
What? It's just you and me?
it's just you and me today. Um, we do
Did we
have
burn
guests
through all
planned.
our
Let's
friends?
we did we didn't burn through all of our friends yet. No, we have bookings coming up, but this is a week actually as we get to our I think as we get to our 10th episode. This is the ninth one, but as we get closer to a milestone, I thought let's we do have a guest for, by the way. Dear audience, don't worry. We have guys more. You don't have to listen to us for 30 minutes. But yeah, I think let's look back. Let's look back at 8 episodes of learnings about brands, learnings about sales, VC, CEO.
So, Howard, I
We've covered
prepared
a
a
lot
few
of topics.
slides ahead of this
Oh yeah,
QBR, just so that we could facilitate and get the end budget that we're looking for to sponsor the podcast. So I didn't want to come in here naked.
the
So,
sponsorship idea was supposed to be a secret. We haven't
oh my
launched it
gosh,
yet.
did I let that slip? You can write us at so Howard, we've gone through a lot together, the eight. So we've done a lot of different functions. We went through investors, we went through designers, we went through it's a lot of sales voices. What were some of the themes that you heard there, and what did you take from that, and what did our audience care about?
Uh, One thing that stood out, and I know we talk about it a lot in general, is hiring and who do you need on your team. I think we talked about that even when we talked when we talked about the role with Rachel the designer. Like, what does that role look like? And we talked to Tal, obviously a recruiter, but when we talked to Daniel about who he looks for, I think Omri, everyone. I'm thinking now who are the only 8 people that we spoke to so far, but I think everyone talked about um, you know the right person in
Mm-hmm.
go-to market to make this work. And I think what stood out was I think there was flexibility, adaptability, coachability, tenacity, things that we talked about when we looked to hire is also like curiosity.
You know,
Um,
Howard, it reminds me, anytime we would get together about work things, we always had one power word, and that was the criteria in which trumped all the other
yeah.
criteria.
Ownership,
So, and it was not just
ownership,
ownership, ownership, man, ownership, and
ownership.
someone who would go to whatever ends, whatever hour, whatever technology experimentation to get it done. And I think that
Yeah,
that was it. Now it's funny that we're getting to hiring, as you think is one of the themes. So I think that that is an important theme. We heard a lot about that from different vantage points. We heard a little bit about the hype cycle on a lot of these, and it sounds
yeah,
like there's a lot of we overhyped like Perry, we overhyped in too many technologies, but then we have a little bit of
yeah,
AI and the excitement there, but you got to keep it real. So I think we have a willingness to embrace new technologies, but also like a reality of what's really impactful, what towards our goal. That was another theme.
yeah.
I think that we heard a little bit about different voices, like getting out of just the marketing voice. I think it was good. It's interesting for me to talk to different people and hear their perspective on what the go-to-market team does and what's the value there.
Yeah.
So I like that. Where would you go from here?
Well, there's clear areas that we haven't covered yet, whether it's content or advertising, sales leadership, sales coaching. Um, there are, we've talking to different we spoke to different leaders in these fields, but talking, we've been talking.
Yes, we have been talking. I guess. Now, can I ask about
But
the
yeah,
format though? So you put out new people. We have done we've done shorts and we've done longs, and I'm surprised that people are listening to the longs. It's generally people who are commuting,
yeah.
and the shorts get a lot of impressions. So what do you
Listen,
think the right format is? Do you think it's the 30
so
minute
we're
sleeper?
yeah. Well, we're no Joe Rogan experience podcast here. We're not putting out 3 hour discussions as podcasts yet.
Right.
But if the YouTubes are live, you can see how many people have watched that, and I what they don't see is the analytics behind it. So what's encouraging is that there are people that do listen to the long form, from our network, and it's not all family members, because our family members are definitely not
Yeah.
listening to us for more than a minute about work. But the stats are there, several minutes. Not talking big numbers here, right? Still just doing this for fun, and there's no promotion behind it. But yeah, even getting 50, 60 views on something, um, it shows that there is interest there. Yeah, the short form for sure. There's a lot of golden nuggets in that. But it's
I
not a
want to
game. But the short video has a nugget, but it's a lead in to listen to the whole podcast. If someone's interested in hearing what that's about, or gaining more than just what that one little snippet's about, then they'll tune in. If they're satisfied with their 10 seconds replay on LinkedIn, they're happy to give a like. We're happy to get your thumbs up. Please continue
So
to engage.
I wanted to look at this project, because it's just we call it like a kiddish project without the herring. So it's just something we just rolled the cameras. But if you were to do this as a go-to-market leader, what do you think? Let's be harsh and cruel about this. We're spending a full 40 minutes a week on this, and plus another 3 minutes.
Yeah, the editing takes a little bit more.
You're up to
I think
45 minutes.
I think we're calling it. I mean, I've tracked it in the early days. Maybe now it's getting faster, but it's hour and a half a week. I think sometimes I'm spending a little bit more time on LinkedIn, engaging with the post than even creating the post.
So let's call it an hour and a half of your life. Okay, now let's try and understand, what was the goal? Like, what was the conversion?
We didn't have any. Well, we spoke about this. We didn't have any specific goal in mind, except to say, hey, we're having these conversations over the weekend. Let's just record it and share it with the rest of our network, and that's all, right? It's like, if we're talking, we have someone standing besides us. They're listening into our banter, and the guests who are part of that conversation. So that's all. When we talk about the goal, that was the goal, and the thing was to have fun, right? So as long as we're able to have fun and do this. But yeah, I think to your question about like how would what we're doing here translate into a viable strategy? I think there is a viable strategy here. We back at Lytico, we looked at it, but maybe we looked at it wrong back then. I know, even running some recent paid thought leadership ads that are not podcasts, but if they are video, and they are the similar style, vertical video, the stuff that's on TikTok and Instagram Reels, that is working. So the podcast itself is the content creation, the short form is the promotion and the value that you provide to your network, and the knock-on effect is visibility. So it's just something that we are doing at Lytico. We've started to look at that and seeing immediate results, just like the type of people who are engaging and the type of people who are even reposting content. Have you ever reposted a LinkedIn ad?
No.
Never. When I see stats that show me key personas reposting content, shows me that we're breaking that barrier between advertising and true thought leadership. So yeah.
You know what's crazy? That this is called content. I call it a conversation and just hanging out.
We're content creators, Jake.
You know what? I'm gonna monetize, and maybe I should light something on fire. I don't know, but I feel like we get props. Yeah, I don't have any props on me here, but that was fun. I had the money. I got lots of other tricks coming up in season 2, but it's good to have this QBR, and I do think that it's just content for content creation, because we are passionate about the subject. There are halo effects about, like, people are asking about which technology are you using, and then there's so there are a whole bunch of other things. So I am enjoying it. I would question because we don't have such a hard goal, what a conversion is. I would say, well, thank God it's just for fun. And I'm glad our budget is pretty minimal. How much do you think we've invested in it so far?
Well, do we want to tell the audience? No, it's not a secret. We've talked. You mentioned that we share like which tools we're using. But I said it's a video recording, whether it's Teams or Zoom or Google Meet. It's
Yeah.
just we're just jumping on a regular meeting. I'm using my AirPods for microphone. You're using
Yeah.
sometimes headphones, sometimes just the native laptop open mic situation. Again, that's really minimal on the technology side. Editing, no secret. We've used. I'm sure people know about the software Opus.
Yeah.
Great way to just use the AI to take your content, format it properly, and even find some of the nuggets, right?
Right.
Some of the things that
And we
used to
also,
take us a long time when we created podcasts was okay. You just recorded a podcast or a webinar or call whatever it is, and now you have to look back at your notes and listen to that recording
yeah.
and sit there and say what do I want to post as a promotion.
So as someone like we're just into this, I think that one is we have a general topic. We're talking about things that are interesting to us and apparently somewhat interesting to our audience. So have fun, I think would be rule number one.
Yeah.
Number two is don't overthink
Like
it. I didn't put on too much makeup, and I think that we should put that into our budget, like all the lipstick and the gloss. But I think that we've kept that to a minimum. So just keep it raw has been another one. The other thing is, use some of the tools that are out there to really cut the cost of content creation, because it's not the gloss, it's actually the content that's actually moving the needle.
The content is what's important. Yeah, I think there's always going to be voices, and I hear that voices, and it came up in our discussion with Gabby. There is a brand element to it as well. Is there a certain quality or brand that you want to put out there? And if so, then yeah, you're going to have to put a little bit. Like if you value brand, then in any tactic or strategy or method, you're going to have to invest. Even when big brands do, even when big brands do guerrilla marketing, that guerrilla marketing is done on brands, and it costs money.
I agree. And so I would say that is the way we've started is probably not the way we're going to continue. I do think that we're going to up our brand game. I think we're probably going to look back and say, well, this was more fun and this got more engagement. So I think that we're going to do some refinement. We're just experimenting, but I think we're getting to a refinement of what's fun for us, what's interesting to our audience, and then we have to be recognizable. So I think that those are probably going to be foreshadowing.
And we need to get on Spotify.
Right.
It's pretty annoying to listen to podcasts on YouTube, because if you're unpaid, I mean, I actually don't even know who pays for YouTube. I don't. I know. I'm just joking. No knock on YouTube. People do pay for that. Yeah, you can't keep it open while you're if you switch to another app.
Right.
But yeah, we need to get Spotify going. We need to come up with a name and a logo and a jingle, right? All the fun stuff that goes with podcasting.
I think that we're at the point, though, now that we are enjoying it enough and have enough feedback that we're more confident to take the next step. We've gone past MVP and we're ready to put a few layers of paint on that. So without foreshadowing too much, our next guest coming on will be someone who's got a lot more experience, and he's really got that ironed out. So I think we're looking forward to learning about both the subject matter, but also his delivery. So I think that's just
don't reveal it. Keep our, but it is a top professional, and we're definitely looking forward to having that person on, both in the field that it does end in podcasting as well. So
Howard, episode 9 was relaxed, familiar, but also a great chance to take stock of what happened the last quarter and what's going to happen the next quarter. So thank you very much for making the time to speak with me.
Thank you, Jake. Thank you.
Howard, I'll see you in episode 10.
All right, take care. Be well. Bye-bye.